Hi guys, and today I've got for you the all-new, brand new 2024 Suzuki Swift. Now Suzuki say that this is the fourth generation of the car. Personally, I'm going to say it's the fifth generation of the car because I think that first generation that we had, the 85 to 88 and then the 88 to 2003, the longest running of that car, I thought was actually a completely different shape. So I'm actually going to call that two generations in one. But anyway, we're celebrating 40 years of the Suzuki Swift with this latest iteration. And this is a crucial car for Suzuki, not just globally, but right here in the UK. And they aim to increase their sales by 30% and take the Swift to 10th position in this segment. It was previously in the 15th position. And the reason why they're thinking that they can do this is because with the likes of the Ford Fiesta and other cars in that segment sort of pulling out of the market and being replaced by sort of larger SUVs and EVs and stuff like that, Suzuki reckons that there's a whole gap that's opening up for people in that segment that want that traditional sort of small, simple city petrol car. And this is the car that they could fill that with. They reckon there's 250,000 people out there that are going to be looking for cars like this. So that's why they intend to really ramp up their sales of this car. Now, compared to the outgoing car, this is very similar and in size and in shape. So it's easily identifiable, it's easily recognizable, and I think that's an important part of it. And that's, you know, they've obviously gone for that. And it keeps the key characteristics. As you can see, it's got the floating roofline. It has now got this clamshell bonnet, and it's quite interesting because the clamshell bonnet actually seems to push the front of the car down a little bit, so the grille goes further down a little bit, and the Suzuki badge, the Suzuki logo, the S, has been moved up into the space in the middle there. And for the rear, the other thing about this car that's quite interesting to the previous one is, if you remember, the previous car had the rear door handles in the C-pillar about there, and apparently some people didn't like that, or the positioning they didn't like, so they've now put that, they've given it conventional door handles on there. In addition to that, if I just show you quickly around the back as well, you now get this roof spoiler, and you get these side sort of aerodynamic things. It's obviously, they've improved the aero on this car as well. So I'm at a car launch, and I'll put all the spec information for you on the screen, but I will tell you that it gets a new Suzuki developed mild hybrid 1.2 litre 12 volt mild hybrid system, 3-cylinder petrol engine. Previously it was a 4-cylinder, and it comes with either a 5-speed manual, which is what this is, or an automatic CVT. There's even a 4-wheel drive version. They call it the All Grip. That sits at the top of the range. This one has, well, they all have 82 brake horsepower and 112 Newton meters of torque. That's a little bit more torque than before. So they say the acceleration is improved. The 0 to 62 miles per hour acceleration is better by 0.6 seconds. But that, having said that, it's 12.5 seconds for this manual version and 11.9 seconds for the CVT automatic. They'll both reach just over 100 miles per hour. Now they say it's about 7% more fuel efficient, and Suzuki reckons that it beats all of its rivals in terms of economy because they've worked out, based on current fuel prices, that you could do 1,000 miles for about £99 in this car. That's on combined fuel economy figures. Now we're talking about CO2 emissions figures, because again that's really low because it is a mild hybrid, and that's around 99 grams per kilometer CO2 for this manual version. There's two trim levels, the Motion, which is going to be the most popular one, and this Ultra, which is the slightly higher spec one. But to be honest, they're all really well spec'd. Even the Motion one comes with a ton of standard equipment, including LED lights, adaptive cruise control, navigation, rear view camera, heated front seats, traffic sign recognition, and a blind spot monitor. So the Ultra just adds a few extra things. Again, the spec is on the screen. Now, this is petrol, it's manual, it's a compact city car that weighs less than a ton, despite being loaded with a lot of equipment and stuff on there. In many ways, it's a very old school car, but it's also a very modern car and all the features that it has. So what do you pay for that? Well, the price for the Motion manual starts at £18,699. At the top level, it goes to about £21,000. This one, the Ultra, this is a burning red car. This is the color of this car, and that adds about £600 to the price. But the starting price itself is under 20k. It's 19,799. I would say, actually, to be honest, I think the Motion probably has everything that you need from the car. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the boot space, we'll take a look at the practicality, and of course we'll take it for a drive.
Brown
Right, so let's take a look at the boot of the car. There you go, there's a little button just underneath there, and this thing will actually give you 265 liters of luggage space, expandable to 589 with, you can see, the split folding 60/40 split folding seats if you drop those. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It's just as you would expect. There is actually a little bit of room under the floor where the tire should be. I'm guessing they come with a tire repair kit. This one doesn't, but other than that, you've got a light and you've got a hook, and that's pretty much all you get and all you need. Let's see what the rear space is like. So here we are. Now this driver's seat is set for me. I'm 6'2" with long legs. I have been driving this car around already, and so that's set for me. So I'm trying to sit behind myself, and as you can see, I am struggling a little bit. So if you and your family are on the taller side, then maybe this won't be the ideal car for you, but I reckon that for 4 normal size adults, it's probably just about fine. And to be honest, I can probably manage that on shorter journeys. Now, to be honest, I have less of a problem with this because this is quite, there's quite a bit of give in that, so I've got room for my knees there, but I have more of an issue probably with this space here on my shins because there's a hard bit there, so that kind of really digs into it. Room for your feet, no problem at all. Plenty of room down there. And what do you have back here? Not a lot really, but you do get child seat isofix anchor points, a nice bit of canvasy type trim there. No rear pockets on the seats, but you do get a little box there, and also you get, if I can show you on there one, you get a little place to put water bottles. So that's quite nice, isn't it? So let's get into the important bit, which is the front one. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Are you enjoying the video? Well, make sure you've punched the like button. It helps. Here we are inside the brand new Suzuki Swift, and up front here I have no problems with space, even for my long legs, not an issue. And there's a footrest down there, don't know if you can make that out, but there's a footrest down there. The pedals are nicely placed. I have was struggling a little bit, but I think with a bit of practice you can do heel and towing in this. Now this is really interesting because this car has a much updated interior and a much bigger screen. I think that's a 9-inch screen that it's got. Let's turn it on. You can see already without even turning it on that there's a profusion of controls and buttons and toggle switches and everything right here on the steering, under here as well. Just shows you how well equipped this car is. They all have keyless entry and start. And so let's actually, it's a manual car, so clutch down, that's neutral, handbrake, proper old school hand. I mean, how many new cars coming out in 2024 still give you one of these? Plus heated seats down there, check it out. So let's start it up and we'll see what that looks like when you start it up. And there you go, so that's come on. That's all lit up there, that's a digital screen, and then that's coming on there. So this car, the key thing about what they've done with the interior here is that they've angled everything, so they call it driver orientated, because as you can see they've angled this towards the driver, so they're really sort of making it driver focused in a sense, aside from the fact that, you know, it is a practical little family, small family car. But look at this, that's textured, you can feel that actually, that comes out, and that carries on through here. It's firm, but it's really nicely styled. There are elements of this two-tone dashboard that are really fascinating and intriguing, including the shapes and stuff that they've got here. Glove box, good size there. Again, you can put your drinks in the door pockets. That goes for both sides. You've got all the controls there for the windows, the locks, the mirrors, power mirrors. Over here you've got traction off, and you got lane and all that, but lane also here as well. So you've got these two systems that you've got, lane keep assist. You've got the front release, you got your fuel filler cap opening button there as well. On the instrument panel, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes to go through this because it's quite configurable, because obviously you've got your speed both in miles and kilometers, your fuel, your temperature and your revs, you've got your warning indication there. But if I press the info button, which is here, then you can scroll through the different things that you can have. So you can have your fuel economy. So despite I have been driving this car, despite my driving, I'm still getting 47.6 miles per gallon. You can get well over 60 miles per gallon if you're careful. So that's really, really good. And then you've got, again, again, more miles per gallon information, your driving time, so you can see I've been driving the car for 20 minutes now, average speed that you've done. The idle stop time, so it has stop start. Again, with the mild hybrid system, that really helps because it starts, you really don't even notice it. The moment you come to a halt and you put it in neutral, and it just basically shuts off, and it will come back on again when you need it. Go through that, you got clock, you got your motion. I think this is to do with, this is quite good, torque and power. So it actually gives you the torque and power bars as you're driving. So it tells you, and I was pretty much had them both full on when I switched it over. Acceleration and brake, I've got the brake pedal down, so if I let go, you can see what's happening. And if I press it, it goes back up again. So that's, and the same goes with the accelerator. I think if I do that, anyway, so and then you've got your mild hybrid system. So even here, even though it's a mild hybrid, but it's still showing you how that works, and you can actually see that in action. And then you've got miles per hour. So here you've got the screen. In the screen you've got car information. So you got your tire pressure stuff, cars, so trip computer information is all there. Fuel information is there. Wow, you keep a history of what you've done, so that's quite good. It gives you, again, shows you what the car is doing in terms of its power. And what else have you got? You got music, there's all the radio and all the rest of it, connectivity. I've been listening to radio, it's really good sound actually. Not bad at all for a small car. So all of that information is there. You got your vents, you got your climate control there. And this one has got automatic climate control. I think that's the key difference between, again, check the specs that I put on earlier, but that's one of the key differences between the Motion and the Ultra. Lots of power supplies, because you've got a normal 12 volt power supply there, but then you've got your USB there, and then you've got another two there. See, these are the USB-Cs are there. Space there, cup space there. Great manual gearbox, a little tray there, and as I said, heated seats. So honestly, really comfortable, everything you need in this car. It's all really logical, very precise. In many ways, it sort of takes you back a little bit to how cars were and are, and some would say are meant to be. So there's no fussing, there's no like driving modes or anything like that. It's all really straightforward. The key thing is that it gives you everything that you need, but it's got all of the mod cons, if you like, that you expect in a modern car, including all the driver assist features and adaptive cruise control. But at the same time, it feels very much like a traditional car. Does it feel like that to drive? Let's find out. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does. Right, so here we are, beautiful sunny day in Tewkesbury, and we are in the new Suzuki Swift. Now we're just going to tread our way out of this beautiful Tewkesbury Park that we're in. This golf course park is where we stayed last night, and head out onto some roads, and then we'll give it a try. But as I head out, and as I was sitting there yesterday at dinner, surrounded by the previous generations of the Suzuki Swift, I couldn't help but reminisce. I do have a little bit of a history with the Swift. So the first generation car, now they say that this is the fifth. They say it's the fourth. I say it's the fifth, because the first generation was kind of split into two. I've experienced with both of those. So the very, very first one, again, both white one, both in Saudi Arabia. My dad used to have one as a company car when we lived in Jeddah, and I just used to pinch that. It was a company car. They used to leave it at home. The driver would just leave it home, and I just used to pinch it and just drive around in it, and it was a lot of fun. And so I've got a lot of fun memories of that. And one of the first cars that I reviewed was a Suzuki Swift GTI. So that was the 88 onwards, I think it was an 89 probably. That was in white, that wedge-shaped one, an iconic Suzuki Swift shape, I would say. And it was just such an awesome thing. It was
350 yards, turn left onto the Gloucester Road.
One of the most sportiest and exciting cars that I've driven to that point already, So yeah, so this, I'm looking forward to this. I'm seeing, and of course I reviewed the current or the previous generation last year, a year before. You can check that out on my channel. I'll probably put the links in the description. And I still like them. I think they're fantastic. That was a Suzuki Swift Sport, but they don't have the Sport at the moment. I don't know if it's coming or not, but this is what you're getting. But we'll see. We'll see what it's like once we're out onto some good roads. Okay, so some nice roads. Let's give 6,000. The limiter cuts in at 6,000. That's a nice grunty note from the little 3-cylinder engine. Oh my goodness, it sounds fantastic. It sounds much more aggressive than it's got any right to be. but it's got a really nice thrum, really nice note to it. The gear change is so light. The controls, I've been driving this car for about 20 minutes now, and I've just opened it up because it's a nice road here. But the gear change is very, very light, very easy. The controls are very easy. The clutch is also quite light in this car. The whole car is typical Suzuki, and it's very easy to drive. It's very light. All the controls are very intuitive. It's exactly what you want it to be. But at the same time, yeah, the steering is a little bit sharper. I don't know if it's really sharper compared to the previous one that I drove, the Swift Sport, but certainly the response there was fantastic. Electronic power steering, of course, but they say that they have improved that, and you can sense it a little bit because it does feel like quite responsive, so that's quite good. The performance is great straight away. In terms of, you know, its engine side, when I say great, remember, we're talking 12.5 seconds here. Now, it doesn't feel like 12.5 seconds on paper feels slow, or it sounds slow. But when you hear, it doesn't actually feel slow. It feels absolutely fine. And I think that that's the thing to keep in mind, is that a lot of these figures you see like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever, 12 seconds in the real world is actually really what you need, and still feels quick enough. Not bad at all. I mean, this is the thing about Suzukis, is that there's always an element of fun in them, and that remains the case with this as well. Straight away, and you can sense it straight away, you can feel it straight away, just in the way that it responds and the way that the controls are all set. It's a car that somehow manages to do that balance between being a very easy car. For most ordinary people, just jump in, drive it. It's undemanding, there's no hassle, it's straightforward, it's exactly as you expect it to be. But on the other hand, for people like me, there's an element of enjoyment here. There's an element of like, yeah, it does everything that you need it to do, but it's not boring. It's quite interesting, especially with that engine note. I'm loving that engine note. I'm loving the torque as well, actually. The torque is really good. It's quite responsive. So I think this is the thing, is like, you may think it's got not enough power and stuff like that, but the way that the torque characteristics are set up, you know, it has the go when you need it. And I think that's a crucial thing. So what about the ride? The ride, we drove through a small town as well, and now we're out on the roads here. And you know, the car is being moved around. It's a small car, you know, it is being moved around. I mean, oh, you know what? It's got so much equipment on here. I just saw a slight response from the steering where it tried to detect the lane and it tried to move in. I would like to turn that off actually, because I don't like these systems. So as I was mentioning, the ride, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of nuggetiness, if you like, to the car, but you know, you can feel everything that's going on, but it's not uncomfortable and not jarring. It's certainly not harsh in any way whatsoever. Oh, this is some great roads here. Brakes are good, and the brakes are like not very bitey, but they're quite progressive and quite linear, and definitely reassuring enough. Not an issue at all. And this is the thing, all the controls are very finely judged and very finely balanced, just as you would want them to be. Powering through the corner, not much understeer, honestly, not much sign of understeer, but oh, this is nice. But again, good response, good turning. Keep the engine boiling. Let's just keep it where it is for now. There we go, there's a limiter, third gear, and wow, I mean, you can really guide this through these corners, which are really coming up nicely now, and it's really good. And you know, the performance is not lacking, honestly. It's not lacking. You get exactly what you need, but there's a good level of reassurance. Slow down for this bit, and let's see how it responds here. Oh, no understeer, yeah. No, I mean, there's a vaguest hint of it understeer on the brakes into the corner. No problem at all. I mean, like, we are properly driving it like a sports car right now. I mean, don't forget, this is a little city runabout, and I'm checking around these rather nice roads, let's be honest, and it is very entertaining. This is great. Wow. I don't know if you can see in that camera, absolutely stunning. All around visibility is not really an issue at all. The rear window actually feels really big. To be honest, there's a kind of old school feel to that rear window, just in the way that the outline sort of curves around at each corner. It does, you know, I look back and I think, oh, I'm sitting in an older car. This is a brand new modern 2024 car, but it has an old school feel to it. And again, around the cabin, the pillars are relatively thin for a modern car. So again, the visibility is not too bad. But one of the things I'm finding now that we're sort of in an uphill section a little bit is that you do have to work the gearbox. So changing up too early, and then this is where you find that you will run out of puff, you know. But keep it in the second and third, I think, is where it likes to be if you really want to keep motoring. If you change up into fourth, then the fifth is purely like motorway, I think. But if you change up too early, I think you will run out of puff. So that's where it kind of, you know, that's the only time that you sense that, you know, there's not as much performance as you may wish. Oh, rough road. But it's good. I mean, the steering response is great. I mean, this is one of those cars, I mean, you can see even from doing this, I mean, we're not in the city, but, you know, the nippiness of it is a given. You know that it's going to be perfect for the city. It's compact. You can feel that it's nippy. It'll dive in and out of corners. It's a good size. It's easy to place it, easy to park it. I've got a camera, a reversing camera. What more do you need? But you can tell that, you know, it's all going to be perfect. So the fact is that it's clearly a good city car. And again, as I was referring to earlier, that it's got this ability to do two things well. So it can be a good city car, but I'm out here and I'm driving these B roads, and you know, in some city cars you might find that they're not really in their element, but I'm enjoying this, you know, I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting a lot of feedback because this is a really, you may be noticing that even my voice, but this is a really bad road. So considering that this is a really bad road, actually the ride is actually showing up to be quite good, because it's able to keep me quite comfortable in this and still talking to you, despite the fact that this is a really rough, bumpy road surface that we're on right now, and we're still traveling at a decent speed, shall we say. You can heel in tow actually once you get a little bit of practice. Once you get your foot at the right angle, you find that you actually can do that. I mean, we are almost this is the thing, it's so bad, it's like this is rough roading right here. And the fact that it's coping with it so well is great. I actually want to keep that engine because I want to keep hearing that engine noise. So I'm going to change back down into second and just keep it in second because, hey, why not? It's not like it's going to use a lot of fuel, is it? Oh, this is a surprisingly fun little car. But actually, no, I shouldn't say surprisingly, because I know that Suzuki have always had that in the Swift, and it's great to see that even in 2024 they're managing to maintain that key ingredient, I think, which is so important to the Swift brand, the element of fun and engagement. Little bit of wheel spin there, just in first gear, but fine in second, no problem at all. You like to work this car, you know, you really want this, and it just takes me right back to that first generation Swift where, you know, you could just thrash the pants off it all day long and, you know, drive it like you stole it, so to speak, and it will respond and it will be fine. And so is this thing. I mean, it's really, really good. Suzuki, well done. Another great car from Swift, from Suzuki. The Swift is definitely one to have on your short list, especially if you've had a previous one and you want to upgrade to the newer one. You will not be disappointed. And all those people that have kind of run out of options in the small car segment, I think Suzuki are really onto something here. There is an option still that is quite an old school, but utterly modern in terms of the equipment you get, but old school in terms of the feel and the drive. And if you want something like that, this is the car to look at. Hope you enjoyed the review. Catch you in the next one. Check this out, guys. It's my book. It's my first novel, and it's written for car fans like you. It's a fun political action thriller. It's full of cool cars and spectacular action. Get your copy now at Amazon.com.